OnX Hunt Map, the most intelligent and accurate GPS mapping tool for hunters. OnX. Now your weekly 2-minute tip from OnX. Know where you stand.
I'm probably going to have to change that 2-minute thing because we seem to go longer than that all the time. We're going to talk turkey hunting today and then also talk fishing too with Ben Brettingen here on the show. Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
You know,
we're in the thick of it now.
Yeah, I get asked all the time, hey, what's that app you use to find out landowner names? And, you know, I tell them OnX, of course, and then it's always about hunting, though. And you don't hear people talk about it for fishing too much, but certain time, you know, ice fishing, we've talked about on the show before. Ice fishing is great because you can mark your waypoints when you're out there driving around on the lake. But there are some other ways you can use this for different types of fishing as well, right?
Yeah, one of the big ones is, if you are a trout angler, if you fish stream trout, it's great because let's just take the Whitewater State Park, that area, the Whitewater River. It's kind of a patchwork of private and public land all the way down the river there. So just knowing, what areas you can get to, how you can access the river, especially if you're fishing from shore and not floating it, you don't have as many options. So you can go and pick out private and public lands, and if there's an area you really want to get to, you know who to knock on the door. So a lot of people use it out west for this application, and the same thing can be done right here at home.
You can use that. I've used it for boat accesses before, but I never even thought about stream trout fishing and where you can go and where you can't go, because you got to be a little bit careful when you're walking those streams, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Because, there could be, the next fence over, if you're trying to access a property in Minnesota, if your feet are wet, if you're under the high water mark, you can, walk downstream all day. But if you're trying to get to an area, it makes it a whole lot easier, especially outside of the park where it becomes a little bit more patchwork with some of the WMA land. So, that's just an easy way to make sure that you're legal and you can get to the areas you want to get.
I'm sorry. I'm just fascinated. I'm looking at the map, so I'm just lost and looking at Whitewater. Have you been down there much? It's such a cool area down there.
Yes, I used to spend quite a bit of time trout fishing down there in my younger years. Haven't been down there in a few years now, but it's always a beautiful place to be, and it seems like there's always trout. The DNR does a great job of stocking, as well as in some of the areas. There's a good native population, so I enjoy it.
All right, I'm just getting distracted now. We better just bring Ben back here. There we go. All right, so you don't do much trout fishing now?
I just, to believe it or not, there's not a whole lot of trout fishing other than speckled trout fishing down in Mississippi. So
yeah, sure.
I hadn't done a ton, but I went up this fall, actually, to the North Shore when I was grouse hunting and tried to do a little trout fishing up there. So it's great to be back wading in the streams, although it was much colder in October as compared to the summer when I'm usually doing it. So.
That steelhead deal up there on the North Shore is way cool. And I don't know if I'm going to have time to do it this year, but I've been talking to Garrett Severe about coming up there and fishing with him quite a bit. And again, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it now. I got a couple of trips planned, and then I got a buddy that wants me to do help him out with some farming this spring. So that ends up kind of cutting into that early that spring fishing time, but that's pretty fun up there. And I one of the trips I got planned is a turkey hunting trip, and I know that's what everybody's talking about right now is turkeys. Have you been out yet, Ben?
I haven't. With Minnesota here, one bird, the weather hasn't been great. I'm not super chomping at the bit. Actually, to be honest, May is my favorite time to be out there. Middle of May, even towards the end of May, a lot less pressure. And right now, from what I've talked to a lot of people, is a lot of the birds are still pretty henned up. People are definitely killing birds, but towards the end of the year, and I'm hunting and I can get a gobbler to sound off anytime after 9 a.m., that's pretty much almost a dead bird. So I've got a few trips coming up in May, and I'll probably try to get out for a few days and get my Minnesota birds. So
Dan Amundson is with us here. I'm going to bring you in just for a minute here, Dan. You were out this morning?
Yeah, I've been out 6 out of these first 8 days, and everything that Ben said is pretty accurate. It's been tough. Few birds have been killed, but I'm way up in northern Minnesota, and it was 21 degrees this morning. So you're sitting freezing your butt off, and hearing birds, but same thing. They get henned up right away, and it's tough. But they're there. It's only going to get better from here. So with the bow, I've got a lot more time, and I've been able to chase them, and will be able to chase them for a while. So it's just been good to get out, but it has been tricky.
So
yeah,
Dan, I know we've told this story on the show before, Dan, but I want you to tell the story about, because I'm finally giving up on bow hunting turkeys. Like, I'm sure I'll do it again. And depending on if I take some trips and what tags I can get, I'll do it again. But I am all about bringing a 12 gauge out there or a shotgun of some sort right away. And I want to eat a turkey. I enjoy the hunt, but I want to eat one. I don't want to, because I was trying to tell Dan, I'm like, last year was the first year you went out, Dan. So he's going to go out with his bow. And I said, you know what, Dan, I mean, have at her. Good luck. I admire you for trying it, but I would just bring the shotgun. Tell us what happened, Dan.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you might just suck at it, because it seemed pretty darn easy to me. But no, it was first time I'd ever bow hunt anything, let alone turkeys, and set up, and I was done in 45 minutes. And granted, we had some not smart birds that, the population up here hadn't really been hunted yet. They're getting hunted a lot more these last 2 years, but yeah, it was nice, crisp morning. It was cool too. It was like 27 degrees, and birds were fired up and ready to go, I guess. And strutted right in, got to put on a show a little bit and see them gobble, hear them gobble, see their breath in that crisp, cool air. It was pretty cool, and lucky enough to put a good shot on them pretty close. It was pretty cool. Got me hooked, and there's a reason when it's 21 degrees out, I'm still going. It was a lot of fun.
There's definitely something to be said about hunting those birds up north. I spent a bunch of time up in our old stomping grounds, Brett, up by Moorhead, Fargo area, and there's no doubt that the further north you get, the dumber those birds get.
For sure. For now, though.
Yeah. Do you think they just don't? Yeah. I was wondering about that too, and do you think they just don't get as much pressure up there as they do down south? So they're not, they haven't learned to be more afraid of people.
For sure. You look at it, like, let's just compare it on a nationwide scale. You could start first season in Minnesota was 1978 or whatever. So they've only been hunted for, 30, 40 years, and it just hasn't gotten woven into the fabric. And the same thing up north, like, people are just starting to get turkeys like within the last 10 or 15 years. So they just don't get pressure. You go down in the south, and people have been doing it for hundreds of years, and you won't see a turkey strut out in an open field in the south. It doesn't happen.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I think it's a big thing is pressure, and at some point it's natural selection, right? If the birds that like to strut and be dumb, they die. They don't get a breed. So over time, I think it changes.
In northern Minnesota, not only do the toms strut out in an open field, but so do the hens, apparently. Dan,
yeah.
Do you got that footage, Dan? Do you got that clip?
I've got a picture of it. I didn't really get good film of it. Just had the cell phone from a ways away. But yeah, I got a still of it. This was shooting that bird last year was pretty darn cool. But this was an awesome experience that me and my roommate Joe Titus had. We set up on this field. We didn't really know what to expect. Just a chunk of private that we hadn't seen many birds on. Landowner hadn't seen many birds on. We didn't hear much in the morning, but we heard this hen just super aggressive, so aggressive. We thought it was a new hunter who was calling and just didn't really know to back off on the call. But my goodness, turned out to be a live hen. And so we kind of got a little aggressive back with her, and she didn't like that. She came in and put a good show on and was strutting around for probably a good half hour. Not too often you get to see that, we had to triple check to make sure there wasn't a beard on her. Just pretty cool thing to see. Yeah. And so, obviously didn't shoot one, but we were both shaking about that and knew we weren't going to shoot it for a while because we knew it didn't have a beard. And still gets that blood pumping, and that's what it's all about. Is to be out in the woods, getting to see that kind of stuff. That's what I've come to enjoy about this sport.
Absolutely.
I wonder if she would identify as a they.
Yeah,
did you ask for the pronoun?
Kind of joking about that, saying, wonder if she could be legal. Yeah. But,
wow.
That's great. I can't say I've ever seen that. So very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you don't hear about it too often. I've heard a couple of crazy turkey stories. I think it was Kurt Vosick who lives out here. He went, I don't know if he went to South Dakota or where he went. He went turkey hunting somewhere, and he got attacked by 2 different turkeys, I think in the same day, or either that or a day apart. I can't remember the exact story now, but yeah, he was, I don't know if he was like, stalking and reaping and got pounced on, or I don't remember the exact story, but yeah, he had to literally fight off 2 different toms with his bare hands. So turkeys. Yeah. All right. Dan, thank you very much for that story. Ben, thank you for people that don't have OnX yet. Where should they go to get it?
You can download it on the on iOS, the App Store, Google Play, or go to onxmaps.com.
Thank you, guys.
Maps for hunting, made by hunters. Download the OnX Hunt app on Google Play or the App Store, or start your free trial today at onxmaps.com. OnX, know where you stand.